Oh boy. Well, gentlemen, they did it again. And by did it again, I mean got completely hornswoggled. But, excuse me, neither here nor there. But, in any event, the Utah Jazz, now 29-47, are, still continuing their losing ways. 113, 129 went the score. And honestly, that first half was just the thing that put us out of it. Getting outscored 40-25 in the first quarter kind of set the tone for the way the game was going to go. Getting outscored by 15 and then, losing the second quarter 27-22 put you down 20 going into halftime. There's no way you're coming out after that, considering the way the Cavaliers have been. Despite not having Donovan Mitchell in this one, they just had enough firepower to get it done. It was good, Jackson. Looking at things from a positive point of view, Brice Sensabaugh and Taylor Hendricks had another good game from a scoring point of view. That's about as far as it goes. Colin Sexton gave you 19, 3, and 7. But yeah, Jared Allen gave us a nice hefty double-double, 21 and 12 to go along with 5 dimes. Karis LeVert gave them 26, 7, and 5 dimes. Max Strus gave them 15, 4, and 6 dimes. Darius Garland had only 8 points, 3 rebounds, but 7 dimes. Then you had Evan Mobley, 21 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. Then you go to the bench, and they have another 5 assister. Sam Merrill, 18 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. All in all, their starting 5 plus their 6 man all had at least 5 assists. 7 that's 6 guys on the roster. It really just doesn't get much more, attractive than that if you're an NBA fan. And if you're a Jazz fan, it stings a little bit. I'll say that. But in all good faith, we're trying to pretend like we don't see the losses and that it's just more enjoyable for us to go ahead and focus in on, the rookies. Because honestly, that's the only tape that I'm watching. Watching the entirety of the game gets absolutely disgusting at times. Watching Colin Sexton go through and, fight to no avail is frustrating. It's just all around not an attractive thing to watch. It's not enjoyable in the slightest. But the best you can hope for is that, the rookies give you enough tape to feel comfortable with where they're going. And honestly, today I was wondering if Brice Sensabaugh and Taylor Hendricks were going to have a regression game. Obviously, last game they set career highs, both respectively at 22 points, 18 rebounds. It just so happens that they decided to do the exact same thing this game. Now, the shooting splits were honestly good, so we're gonna talk about these two guys because, let's face it, they are the expectation for the Jazz. They are the reason why the Jazz are in the situation, alongside Keontae George, who still has not come out of a shooting slump, by the way. But Brice Sensabaugh in 30 and a half minutes, 8 of 14 from the field, 57%, 6 of 9 from 3. Definitely a stark comparison to 2 games ago where he was 0 of 7 overall, and I believe 0 of 5 from 3, if memory serves me right. He had 7 boards, 4 assists, 1 steal, only 2 turnovers, total of 22 points, which led our team, by the way. But his box score plus minus was a negative 13. Taylor Hendricks in 27 and a half minutes, 7 of 13 from the field for about 54%, 4 of 6 from 3, still solid. Then you also had him with 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, and only 1 turnover to go along with a third on the team in points, being with 18 and a box score plus minus of a negative 7. You saw Walker Kessler play 9 minutes. Yeah. 3 of 3 from the field. Had 1 assist, 1 block, 6 points, box score plus minus of a negative 9. Colin Sexton, 6 of 14 from the field, shooting 43% from the field, 2 of 5 from 3, 5 of 6 from the free throw line. Then you saw him with 3 rebounds, 7 assists. The only nasty part, which I'm not gonna lie, it surprised me a bit, but it also frustrated me a little bit. But it also just told me I can't focus on this because this season is it's a wash anyways. Colin Sexton led the team in turnovers. Not with 4, not with 5, not with 6, but with 7 turnovers. He had a passing game like Jordan Clarkson and AJ, ladies and gentlemen. He had just as many assists as he had turnovers in the bad way. Not 2 assists and 2 turnovers. 7 to 7. That's crazy. In the same way that I grill everybody else, I got to grill Clark. I got to grill Sexton as much as I enjoy him. But yeah, that's not good. You can't win games. You can't effectively distribute the ball if you're doing it that way. Now I'm willing to call this an anomaly. Partially because of the talent around him does not afford him the opportunity to make timely passes and put himself into winning situations, but also because the referees just didn't seem to want to give him the whistle today. And I'm not an excuse guy, but there were a couple times. I'm not going to say that he should have had 1 turnover, right? I'm not saying that, but a couple of those turnovers came from the refs just saying, play through it. And it's like, yeah, sometimes they can, but what you can't do is tell Sexton to play through it on one end of the floor. Then on the other end, you call him for a tic-tac foul. Because he led our team with a foul count at 4. I don't agree with all the fouls that he got. I don't agree with all the fouls that everybody got. Now, admittedly, it was only 22 total, and the main issue was the fact that that put them into a position where they had the disparity being the Cavaliers having 14 to the Jazz's 22. That's a difference of 8. But the most interesting part was the fact that Jared Allen had none. In 33 minutes of being a rim protector, he had no fouls. Not one. Walker Kessler in 9 minutes had a foul. Colin Sexton in 34.5 minutes had 4. Taylor Hendricks had 3 in 27.5. Brice Sensabaugh had 3 in 30. Chris Dunn had 2 in 23. And we know how hard Chris Dunn plays defense. But at the same time, maybe you just say, he's that much more spatially aware. He kept his body out of the way. And there might have been a couple of judgment calls, but the referee ultimately, decided to let it run. But continuing on down the list, we had Keontae George stinking it up again. 2 of 11 from the field, 1 of 5 from 3, 4 of 4 from the free throw line. He did have 4 rebounds and 3 assists, but he also had more turnovers than assists as he had 4 turnovers. Total of 9 points and a box score plus minus. That was the worst on the team at a negative 19 in his 36.5 minutes. You saw Chris Dunn in 23 minutes go 1 of 3 from the field, missed the 1 3 that he took, had 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, and no turnovers. Total of 2 points, obviously. Box score plus minus was the second best on the team for anybody that played more than 20 minutes with a -6. Then you had Lucas Samanic in 18.5 minutes, going 3 of 6 from the field, 1 of 4 from 3, 5 of 7 from the free throw line, surprisingly enough. He had 5 rebounds. He had 1 assist. He had a turnover. Excuse me. He had only 1 turnover, but he also had a block to go along with it for a total of 12 points, which led the bench in scoring, tied with THT. Now, Lucas Samanic finished the game with a box score plus minus of a -8. Then you had Omer Yurtseven, who played 30.5 minutes, went 5 of 10 from the field, missed the 1 3 that he took, hit his 1 free throw, though, and had 6 boards, 2 assists, 1 block. But he had 3 turnovers, which was 3rd on the team out of the total 19. So obviously you can't win games turning the ball over that much, but it was going to be a hard fought battle to begin with. For a total of 11 points and a box score plus minus, which was the best on the team at a +1. Kyrie Lewis Jr. in 17.5 minutes, 1 of 4 from the field, 0 of 3 from 3. He had 2 assists. He had a steal. He had only 1 turnover, box score plus minus of a -3. You saw Talen Horton-Tucker go 5 of 7 from the field. You saw him go 2 of 3 from 3. You saw him have a rebound, have a steal, have no turnovers, actually. It basically just came in and just ran up his numbers as much as he could and was actually efficient at doing it for once. Still box score plus minus of a -9. So Shoulder shrug. But all in all, it was not pretty. We got disassembled by Evan Mobley putting up 21, 7, and 5. Max Strus giving us 15, 4, and 6. Jarrett Allen giving us 21, 12, and 5. Karis LeVert giving us 26, 6, and 5. And then Darius Garland only taking 6 total shots today, having a little bit of a Chris Dunn-esque game. Had 8 points, 3 rebounds, 8 assists. I mean, the highest box score plus minus ended up being Jarrett Allen in his 33 and a half minutes with a whopping plus 26. And everybody in the starting lineup was in the positive. Max Strus 15, Evan Mobley 11, Karis LeVert 17, Darius Garland 9. It's not until you get to the bench where you see anything significant in the negatives. And then Tristan Thompson played. That's how you know we were bad. But yeah. You said Brice looked good. Mm-hmm. We just look like a bad team. I hope we ain't like this next year. It'd be very frustrating if we are. I hope not. Well, that was my last Jazz game I'm watching this season. I can't even blame you, Zay. I'm not going to lie. It's a roll of a 20-piece dice now if we win it or not. Okay. Yeah. Bryson Taylor going to be good in the future. He needs a Rondo-type mentor. And Larry Sexton needs to be traded if the Jazz want flag. I ended at halftime, then watched a little of the fourth. I miss us being the first seed. I miss us being competitive at all. I'm not going to lie, Jackson. I miss looking at a game and genuinely being impressed by what I'm seeing on the screen. Like, F the scoreboard, forget everything else. Just watching guys go at it on the basketball court and watching the cerebral aspects of it. Watching guys make good reads, watching guys outsmart other guys, and watching guys just play with some heart and some integrity. Didn't get that. Said that 7 turnovers not good, but the rest of yeah, more or less how I felt about Isaiah. I just get sad watching what we became. Yeah, I think Isaiah Thomas would be a great mentor, and just player on Jazz. I think the difference in that is the fact that defensively he leaves a lot to be desired, and at this stage in his career, as old as he is, he also can't physically do certain things defensively. And when you look at Keontae George, he's not necessarily a great defender. He's arguably not even a good defender. So you're hoping that he can be a negligible positive at worst, or at best, depending on how you look at it. And I don't know if Isaiah Thomas will be the best for it. Was good logic. Jackson, you said Walker Kessler didn't look good this year. Now the Jazz season is over. Who you got winning the finals in the NBA? Man, as much as I would love to say LeBron for pointlessly no reason, I'm gonna go ahead and be serious and just go ahead and pick the favorites and go with Denver. I don't think Boston has it. Boston's gonna be a tough team. They're definitely gonna be very difficult in the East, but I don't think that they have, a Denver type ceiling on them, if I'm gonna be honest. So I don't know if Kessler's problem this year were mental or that elbow, but after having Kerr as his Team USA coach, something happened. I would agree. I don't know what it was, but something happened. Something's not normal. Loki want the Kings to have a Heat's finals run. I don't hate that take. I love the Kings coaching staff and I love the Kings players. So I got a De'Aaron Fox jersey in the background. I don't know if they can. This doesn't look like that good guy. People sleep on Sabonis. He just needs a solid playoff series. Yeah, I think he's underrated, but he can't be Joker. This is the thing. I actually want to know what the head-to-head numbers between Sabonis and let me see, Sabonis versus Jokic. All right, so Domantas Sabonis has averaged 15.6 points, 10.1 rebounds, and 5.6 assists in 17 games against Jokic in his career. Mind you, this goes all the way back to 2016 when he was with the Oklahoma City. Dang, I forgot about that. Sabonis on the Thunder. Then he went to the Pacers. Then he went to the Kings, where he's been, the past couple of years. Let me see Sabonis on the Kings versus Jokic. Let's see if it cuts it down. It does. All right. So Sabonis has averaged 20.7 points, 13.6 rebounds, and 6.9 assists in 7 games for the Kings versus Nikola Jokic in his career. Spicy, spicy stuff. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, he's had some games, and he's had a couple of them. Let me see. Well, so far this year, they've played 3 times actually. They played on the 9th of February, the 14th of February, and the 28th of February, interestingly enough. 17 points, 20 points, 17, 20, 13, all in his point categories. He had 17 rebounds, then 13, then 10. He had 10 assists, then 7 assists, then 7 assists. He had 1 steal, then 3, then 1. No blocks across these games, by the way. He had 3 turnovers the first game, 5 the next game, 3 the last game. So, and his efficiency has been okay. 7 of 9, 9 of 16, 5 of 14. Kind of sheesh. He's had his moments. Overall, let's see. First game, he was a plus 18, then he was a plus 7, then he was a negative 26. So I'm guessing there was like injury or something involved in that one. But overall, I'm very fond of Domantas Sabonis. I think he's a very not necessarily a fluid player, but a very reliable player. I don't think anybody lost that trade that involved him coming there, and obviously Tyrese Halliburton getting sent out. But I think that it was necessary, honestly. I think it was necessary. I think it was a mix of both. Walker should have come next season soon. I hope so. At peak, what do you think Walker Kessler can be? There was a point where I thought he could be like more of a Porzingis type build, where he's a rim protector that can help slide his feet. He's not going to get absolutely griddled and like really greased and cooked on the perimeter. I didn't think that was going to be like a huge thing. Like obviously there's going to be guys that are laterally quicker than him, can get downhill faster, then he can open up his hips and turn. But for the most part, I don't think he's going to be an ultimate liability if he reaches his peak. Defensively, obviously, he's a shot blocker. I want to see him stay on his feet a little bit more so he can play more minutes instead of, getting taken out early because of it. But again, it's all in a matter of time. So I want the Heat Suns finals, even though I hate the Suns. I want the Heat to win finally. I want the Heat to play some actual comp, though. I want to see the Suns get bounced in the first round so I can go back and react to my first video of the season and cook on Suns fans. I can't wait for it. I'm really looking forward to that one. Cause you said I was at the game despite the L. It was a lit experience. Well, at least somebody enjoyed themselves. I'm happy for you, brother. Thank you, sir. I think he will be a better shooting Rudy Gobert. I think he slides a little bit better than Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert is kind of awkward in the way that he moves like he has 2 left feet, and that always scared me. The fact that he hasn't been injured more than he has is really great. Obviously, I'm hoping that Walker follows in his footsteps, but I don't know. The Jazz are gonna get fined for this tank job, bro. The sets they run have me crying. It don't be making sense. I'm not gonna lie. Guess I can learn how to do outlet passes. It's a decent mid. Fair logic, yeah. I legit won $200 tonight on parlays. It would have been like 600 if Keontae hit 2 more threes. Yeah, Keontae sold the bag tonight. I'm not gonna lie. Keontae was a ultimate bag seller. That man was used to the game. Unfortunately, it just didn't work out in our favor. Ironically enough. You said, "Look, I DM'd you what I want for the future." Oh, I just saw it come through. I'm about to check on Discord logic. Hang on. Can we just make the core pieces of the Jazz Brice, Hendricks, Sexton, and Lowry? That's not crazy to say. That's not crazy to say at all. Sometimes I wish Walker had a better season this year so I could feel more confident relying on him. You know what I'm saying? Because imagine Sexton at the one, throw you could throw Brice at the two, Hendricks at the three, Lowry, and then you know a a step up Walker Kessler. Yeah, he doesn't even have to hit the three ball really great, right? Elbow jumpers, comfortable, a really good screen and roller, occasionally hitting a three, attempt like one, maybe two threes a game from the corner, hit one of them, hit none of them, shoot around 34% from three. I would love that. Isn't necessarily a championship caliber team. I don't know, because Brice sometimes leaves a little bit to be desired. But at the same time, I don't hate it. I definitely don't hate it. He said Keontae has hit the rookie wall. He slammed into that thing. Out of the $70, one baby. Holy cow, you realized I checked. Hey, I'm happy for you, Epic. You're a better man than me. I wish I had that parlay money. Glad to be here. Yes, sir, Blizzard. Happy. He said you should make a podcast. I was thinking about it. I mean, I have one, but it's not basketball related. I'm thinking about starting one. I found a gentleman a guy on TikTok who actually stays out in Charlotte as well, and he seems to have some interesting basketball knowledge. We don't have the same, I guess, focal point in understanding, but he has an interesting perspective, and he's not a brain dead person to talk to. So I think I might end up, doing a couple episodes, do a couple videos with him. I'll probably post it on this channel, honestly, since this channel is already monetized, and maybe we'll, create some sort of following that way. But we'll see. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm definitely interested. Yeah. The Deep Three podcast, you should join them. I didn't even see that at first when I watched it. Oh, you do raise a good point. You think they have their thing already? Where are they based out of, actually? Let me check that before I say anything grandiose. Because I do watch their videos very frequently. They do video. Oh, I did not realize they video chat all the time. No, these would be funny though. The D3 podcast, they're definitely on the things. They do a little bit better numbers wise than I thought. Let me find out. 400,000 subs? They're doing something right that I'm not, that's for sure. Goodness gracious. I'd be honored. I'm not gonna lie. I would be very honored. Because what is goodness gracious. But yeah. Sonic the Hedgehog. You at the game. Crowd was crazy. Hey man, as long as you enjoyed the vibes, because it wasn't aesthetically pleasing to watch on television. So as long as you enjoyed it being there in person and your money was worth it, that's all we can hope for, brother. Logic, you said the problem I have is we screwed up Keontae with his main running mate being Clarkson. Absolutely. I cannot stress that enough. If there's anybody that Keontae should have learned from being on the court with, it should have been Chris Dunn from the beginning. It should never have been Keontae George starting alongside Jordan Clarkson, because Jordan Clarkson, unless you want Keontae to turn into Jordan Clarkson, you don't play him with Jordan Clarkson, because Jordan Clarkson is going to give him a different type of confidence and tell him to focus on a different type of scheme and understanding of the game than other guys would. So you put him on the court with somebody you want him to be like, or you want him to take traits from. And this year, I'm not gonna lie, what trait from Jordan Clarkson has been like that? Like what Jordan Clarkson trait besides his just outward confidence have you really wanted like another guy to have? There's not really much of anything. He said Jazz crowd will always be crazy. Key and Castle gonna go hard. If they do grab Castle, that would be a good pickup. We'll see how it looks. Is there an update on Walker Kessler's condition? There's no new. I'm not seeing any like news things talking about it just yet. So I'm wondering if it's gonna be like we get an update in the morning, because that's the way that they're making it seem to be. Which obviously isn't the most enjoyable thing, but it's a thing nevertheless, I guess. I guess. Man, oh man. We're cooked. I have to keep reminding myself of the situation because every now and then it's very easy to, forget and get into a mind space where you're just like, man, what if the Jazz could actually be like, successful? So he's not playing because he didn't want to be part of a bad rebuild. Oh, they said nasal fracture. Mm, not gonna lie, that's a very inconvenient injury. But with any luck, well, I mean, it's probably gonna keep him out from it. They're not gonna play him and stuff. So, and it's not like he's had a particularly great showing as of late or this year at all, honestly. So I'm not expecting anything too crazy. They'll probably just keep him out the rest of the year. Random stuff, but I haven't eaten in 30 hours trying to do a 48-hour fast. I power to you, Epic. I'm not gonna lie. 'Cause I broke my fast a little bit late today, but it went. Yeah, Steve Kerr definitely did something to that man. I don't know what they had him pumped up with, but they need to give him his powers back because this ain't the Walker Kessler from before then. The good news is next season will be more entertaining, whether they're bad or not. They can either play to convey the pick or excuse me, they can either play to convey or play for Cooper Flag. That's a fair point. It's a fair point. Honestly, either way, something's got to give. But, not to take up too much of you gentlemen's time, but do we have any more thoughts, interesting takes, anything like that? You have Insta? Yeah. It should be, well, no, it's not the same as this one. Hold on. The call rate. Did I just type it right? Yeah. Yeah. It's the same as my it should be the same as my Twitter actually. But yeah. I'll just be chugging along. Honestly, I'd rather have Sexton mentor. Yep, Sexton would be a lot more ideal, especially with the strides that Sexton made this year, right? As a passer and as a just as an overall playmaker and making his decisions, it just made more sense that way. But what do we know? I mean, the Jazz are trying on defense, or are they not even trying since they're tanking? I would say that they're not super focused on it. I'm not gonna lie. That's why it's hard to really understand how bad or how much of a liability Brice Sensabaugh is going to be when we actually like start trying to win games because defense is being stressed a little bit, but at the same time, it's like we're getting cooked either way, guys. There's only but so much you can do. You're just young. You're just a rookie. No matter who you play, you're going to be outclassed. Like by default, it just puts you in a very rough situation if you're one of the Jazz players. If I do say so myself. He said the Jazz needs to make moves. Yeah, something's got to happen. New York Knicks making a big playoff run. Hot take. That is a hot take. And it's only a hot take because the Knicks never do anything. But Jalen Brunson has been looking like the real deal this year, even without Julius Randle. With OG fitting in the way that he's fit in. I think they'll be able to do something. I wouldn't quite call them a contender, but they're definitely capable of shaking things up a little bit. They're going to steal some games from somebody, regardless of where they land, honestly. Said Brice has the tools, just needed a chance earlier when the Jazz were trying. Yeah. Yeah. Him and Taylor having back to back good scoring output nights makes things a little bit easier. It does put a smile on my face. Not gonna lie. And the Bucks will be better in the playoffs than people think. I agree. I agree. Their offensive output should be a little bit better, and the defense should be shored up a little bit. Dink. First of all, happy birthday to the lady. Well, is it past midnight? Yeah, it's past midnight over here. Well, it's not past midnight over there. So happy birthday to the lady, first of all. But just vibing. Or it was just winding out the clock a little bit, trying to push it to 30 minutes before we untimely lay down and go to sleep. Considering the fact that the Utah Jazz laid an egg again. Healthy is main priority for the Knicks. Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, but any more interesting thoughts, questions, concerns, thought processes going into these last 6 games of the season by chance? You said the playoffs will still be fun to watch, even though the Jazz aren't playing. Looking forward to it. Yeah, the playoffs should actually be very sneaky good, considering the playing games just to get a guaranteed slot into the playoffs will be enough interesting. I definitely think that something's going to be shaken up. It's just a matter of by how much, because really, all the teams going right now. Plus, if you want to throw in there like a team like the Rockets, who are just really on a hot streak and hitting their stride now, really a lot of things are possible. He said, "Another night crying myself to sleep after another loss is rough, man. It's rough." He said, "I feel bad for the Cavs because the same story here followed to there. Jazz better make the playoff push next year. I hope so." He said, "What do you think the videos will look like after the season?" So I'm probably gonna do like a week of probably draft related content, and then I'm gonna do some like season reviews of certain players. Probably I'm not gonna do like your Lucas Salmoniches because they just didn't play enough time. But obviously the big three for the rookies are gonna get one. Sexton, Lowry, that's 5. I already did Clarkson one, but I'll probably like later on down the line do one more under the assumption that he doesn't get traded. Um, and there's just filling in a couple more guys. Just talking about like where they're at right now, and then potentially where I could see them going later on down the road. Yep, Chris Dunn too. Mm. And then just seeing where they could potentially end up being. John Collins, and just seeing where things ideally ultimately end up getting presented to us. And then I'll probably diversify the content a little bit and start talking about some other teams just to bring in a wider diversity of audience to grow the channel. If they don't, I'm becoming a Warriors fan until the Jazz are good again. I'm weak. What player should let go for the Utah Jazz? Realistically, Clarkson's time might be here. If you can get a good haul for Clarkson. I mean, John Collins obviously hasn't eaten up enough of his contract just yet to be viable, but if you can make him stretch it out just a bit, I think that would be worthwhile ultimately as well. Said, "What's good, Chris?" Yes, sir. He said, "I actually caught the game tonight. At least the rookies look decent." Yeah, 100% agree. They gave us the best show alongside Sexton, but Sexton had 7 turnovers. So Brice and Hendricks for the win. I'm good that we all came to attend your show. Has something to talk about despite the Jazz having a bad game. Yeah, re-signing Dunn. Re-signing Dunn is a must. I'm not gonna lie. Them not re-signing him would be very dumb of me, or dumb of me, really dumb of them. And it would not make sense to me for them to do that. I feel like Brice will be the Clarkson off the bench. The Clarkson of the future, much needed bucket off the bench. Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that actually. Yeah. Taylor look good, yeah. Defensively, Taylor's given me enough to feel confident in his ability to be an elite, help side defender, be able to shoot like play as a small ball 5, but also bring the defense that John Collins just quite frankly doesn't have. Ultimately, things remain to be seen from a certain point of view, but I think that a lot of things can end up getting worked out actually by just them being in the situation together. So I wouldn't put too much stock into it. It's just kind of one of those things. But yeah, for sure. For sure, for sure. Any more thoughts, questions, or concerns, gentlemen? I gotta make sure I post more videos this month. Last month I realized I only posted like 8 or 9. I try to get closer to like 14, somewhere in the 13 to 17-ish range, which is about a video every other day. Gotta touch base with Bron and see what he's cooking. Cause the first video y'all are gonna get is gonna be Taylor Hendricks, an update on him, just talking about what he's been able to be successful at and the time that he's taken and just where we see things going with him. Then we'll have one for Brice next because I'm trying to focus on the positives right now. We really need some positives with the way this season is trending. Um, we'll talk about the likelihood that Chris Dunn does get re-signed, as I think he should. Fun fact, spoiler alert. We already talked about Clarkson. We got to talk a little bit about Sexton and maybe not necessarily clickbait, but see some of the more interesting thoughts behind Lowry possibly getting traded because it seems like the talks for it are obviously heating up again since we're coming into the offseason. And while I don't love it, I'm starting to kind of understand why it might be a feasible situation for Danny Ainge to at the very least entertain above anything else. I want to say we have a late first. We're about to have an early first, and then we'll have 2 second rounders. I think we should have 4 picks this year, if memory serves me right. You said, what do you think about Tucker? THT, they should let him go and be successful somewhere else. I'm not gonna lie. Dylan Jones, interesting. I think they will. He said, wait, Ron Holland for Jazz, maybe. I don't think it will. Who's to say? If we don't sign Chris Dunn, I think I'm a snap. I'm not gonna lie, he's a sleeper player in the NBA, in my opinion. The thing is, he's just he's a high upside, low risk. He's a low risk, high reward kind of player. There's not really much that you can hurt from adding Chris Dunn. He brings defensive intensity. He's a veteran. He's been around the league for a minute. He's finally finding his footing. He's finally being consistent and like having the opportunities to like beat out injuries, just show who the guy is that he's supposed to be when he was originally drafted. So to me, it's a no-brainer. He's not going to sit there and cost you, $15 million. He's going to be a calm 7 to 12, depending on how much you want to pay him. And then I think he'll be good. Lowry being traded is definitely a possibility, though. I'm not going to lie. The more time we see go by, the more likely it feels like it's going to happen. But yeah. If those are our final thoughts, gentlemen, then, as always, good. Oh, well, let me backtrack. Thanks for tuning into this live stream. First of all, they haven't been as lit as they used to be, but they're still alive because of you, gentlemen, which I appreciate to the fullest. With that being said, go ahead and smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, turn on post notifications, and become a member of the channel to help support the content. As always, good morning, good evening, and good night, no matter where you're on the globe watching. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace. I'll see you, Jackson. I'll see you, Blizzard. I'll see you, Sonic. I'll see you, Chris. Yes, sir. You boys be safe. Good night, Key. Night Logic.